All right, we are live. Welcome to Worldwide Slot Car Chat on Zoom number 297. I'm your host, Greg Galb. The gang is all here with Tony and John and John and John and Mike and Garth and John and Jeremy and Chris and all the Johns and non-Johns. Before we get started with our usual stuff, wanted to let you know that Mr. Longhurst, one of our occasional guests, especially a while ago, Paul, uh, undergoing radiotherapy. So put him in your thoughts and prayers or whatever you want to do. He wanted to come today to today's show, but just had therapy today, so he's wiped out today. So hopefully he'll be back soon. He wants to come back and chat with everybody. So
Well,
if you're watching, Paul, hi,
yeah,
Paul. Get
exactly. And if
well
he's
soon.
watching it, listen. I've been through this, and just follow your physician's advice,
Yeah.
and do not push yourself hard. If you're tired, sleep. If you're hungry, eat. And you're going to get through it, no problems.
Take care of yourself.
Yep. We all wish you well.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, in worse news, very recently in the last couple of days, we lost Chappie Man 66, Mr. Paul,
Man. Oh,
succumbed to his illnesses of some kind of bone cancer. So alas, we will no longer see his wonderful 3D print projects and hear his dulcet tones. So wish his family well and all that stuff. And you know, if you're out there, anybody out there who's undergoing treatment, just keep doing what you do. And yeah, we wish Paul's family well for hopefully they can get through this without too much sadness. Uh, but on a happier note, let's talk about slot cars. Anybody got anything they want to show and tell? Raise your virtual hand or raise your real hand, and I'll call on you. Otherwise, we'll just go to Club Corner. Oh, wait, I have a show and tell. Share. Sure, share, change. Right, I said that. I said share. What are you doing? There we go. Too fast for it. Come on. All right, hopefully you guys can see that now. Last week I saw a really clever guy on freeslaughter.de, the German slot car website, had invented this nifty little 3D print that basically just holds a motor on center to his pinion press. And I'm like, that's amazing, especially since I had very recently had to install a pinion, and it was like wishing I had two or three hands to hold the motor and the tool and the pinion and all that in line as I tried to screw it on. Once you get it started, you're fine, right? But holding all that in place to get it started was awkward. So when I saw his invention, I said, "Hey, that's awesome. Are you going to share it?" He says, "Nah, anybody can do this." And I'm like, "Cool." I went and did it. Said thank you for his idea. Gave him credit in the description. He goes by Hex Schloeder on Free Slaughter D. So I have already done versions of these for all five major motor types and several different um, pinion tools. So for all the different pinion press pull tools, I have slim can, short can, long can, flat six, and 16D if the tool is big enough to fit it. And I have sets for the Gauge Master, Ninco, Slotting Plus, Slot Invasion, and Tire Razor pinion and press tools. Working on one for the Franken slot tool, which is odd in that it's one-sided, so I have to come up with a different way to hold the motor in place for that particular tool. But if anybody out there wants files for your pinion press tool, and I don't already have them shared here, you can download the Fusion 3D file. If you already are familiar with Fusion, then that should be easy peasy. But all you got to do is go into the change parameters window and change the width of the opening for the motor, the thickness of the tool, and the name of the tool. And then it will automatically update all the models to fit all the five motors into your tool. And then you can just export and print. Otherwise, if you have a pinion press puller that you want these models for it's not already available, just send me a message. Send me an email, dgalb@dgalb.com, or on any of the forums or Facebook or whatever, and say, hey, Greg, can you do the easy press print for my tool and give me the width of the opening for the motor in millimeters, the thickness of the tool where the opening is in millimeters, and the name of the tool. That's all I need. Assuming, of course, that the hole for the motor shaft is centered on both the width and thickness of the tool. If not, then please let me know so that I can make appropriate adjustments. Jeremy.
Hey, what I was asking about was for like an FF motor, it's if you push on the pinion, a lot of times you'll push the pinion up against the can end because it's so like with metal ones. I was just wondering if you could make an adapter that held the end of the cans instead of in the center line, just so it would push easier against the walls. But it's not
the shaft doesn't go all the way through.
Right. Some of them do, but most of them have a closed can. And I've pushed a metal pinion on before, and it bent the metal can outward, and I was like, oh, damn it. I was just, if you think of anything, that would be nice. That would be a feature I would really want.
Yeah, I could put in. Go ahead, Chris.
On any 050 size motor with a blind bushing or with a little cap over it, it's not a bad idea if your rules allow to take a Dremel and just go around and cut that cap off. So you just go around where it comes straight out and then bends at 90 degree to be a flat part. Just take your Dremel and cut that around. You'll often find a little bit of fuzz in there that's like an oil impregnated fuzz that is a bit of a problem because it can get caught in between the bushing and the motor shaft. The other nice thing is oftentimes you'll find that the armature will move back towards the end bell end just a snick, which is nice because that means it's trying to center itself in the magnetic field. So now you've got an exposed shaft on both ends, and you can alleviate the problem of crunching the end bit there. It takes you like 2 minutes with a Dremel because that stuff is just like cheap little thin tin crap that's in there. So
yeah, if I cut that off, the guys in my club would have a heart attack.
yeah,
so,
again, I'm just
so
I'm
know.
just
here's what I did, but it's really janky. Is like I take that's the end part, and I made a little. Oh, sorry. Okay, there's what I'm talking about. You don't want to push that when you push your pinion on. You don't want to push that up into there. So I put this little cap spacer on there that goes, and then it touches the sidewalls here and pushes a little a little gentler, something like that. Yeah. I'm choking, dying.
I tested on. You can see in the picture I used a long can to do my testing, and it also has a hidden pinion in the back. And the cup in the bolt of my tire razor caused the pinion was too securely mounted to the shaft. So when I tried to press the pinion on further, it basically just pushed the whole shaft and made a little bump on that back end.
Right.
Okay.
So that's obviously not a good thing. No. But so I could have prevented that by putting some kind of flat piece, between the bolt and that part of the motor. In my case, but the thing that you're showing doesn't even protect from that happening.
True. That's what I'm saying. Can you come up with something better? Mine only pushes on the case, but it's not pushing directly down the center line. But either way, I still get screwed if I do it too hard. So it's like.
I mean,
anyway.
I think Chris could probably give us a better idea, but other than putting a flat, solid thing up against that end so that it can't be pushed. It can't deform the can itself.
Right.
Is better than nothing.
Yeah, it is. I mean, if it depends, you can take a reamer and slightly ream the pinions and make them non-press-on pinions if you want. And
Yeah,
then,
or switch to
Plastic
sex
nylon
pins.
or nylon.
yeah, I wouldn't, I would use a metal pinion, and then just to use like a tiny dab of red Loctite for these motors, that the pinion will not come off, so.
Yeah.
I'm
And
wondering, is
putting
there
a-
any company that
Sorry,
sends cars out? Is there any company that sends cars out with FF motors with metal pinions on them already? I wonder how they do it in the factories and get it.
With metal pinions?
Yeah, I can't think of any on the top of my head, but maybe they have a different kind of jig they use for the. Because
I believe Slotted used to
On
Oh,
the
on their-
050 motors?
on the FF motors for the
F1s.
the earlier classic ones. Now they have a bevel pinion of plastic,
oh, that's the Polar cars, yeah.
the Policar ones. Yeah.
So, but you guys are talking about this end over here that should sit or should basically hold the end of those motors that is where the basically the can is close at the back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, even using anything flat, as Greg said, you still run I mean, the motor shaft does not run up against that piece of metal on the inside. There is still a gap there. So you still run the risk potentially of sliding the whole stack along the motor shaft, which generally is not a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, but in principle, you don't have any other choice unless you basically open up that side. But most of the rules that do not allow you to modify the motor can. So
Yeah.
I mean,
there is
there's a lot of
You guys
motors
are
now,
familiar with these
a
slotted,
lot of 180 motors and a lot of 050 motors are now coming with an open bushing on that end, which is a smarter way to do it. So
Yeah.
yeah, but I mean, like these are kind of these large motors from NSR sideways, for instance, they don't have the opening at the end, so you have to deal with the can. At least with these, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the slotted tool, or I mean the presser and the puller, but basically, ideally, that cylindrical part should sit inside this socket. You see what?
Yeah, but it still doesn't.
It's still gonna press hard. Yeah, it's still
Yeah.
gonna pierce the metal down there and leave an indent where you don't want.
Well, I mean, it's not that. So this stuff well, I mean, the flat part of that of the wall, let's say, where the axle is gonna push against, basically should sit inside that thing. So there's gonna be support behind it. So it's not like that you have that you could press the axle through the shaft through, like what happened to Greg that had that basically pinball created, because it's sitting on will be sitting against the bottom of that what would you call it, brass piece.
That's basically what I was describing. Putting something flat
Yeah.
and hard
Yeah.
in that.
Well, that's what my little
Yeah.
nub does. It's got an indent for the right dimensions, so it holds that bottom flat. Oh my! It's got like a little indent here. Maybe you can see. I don't know. Sort of. Where it fits on there flush, and then it also fits flush on the edges here, as well as the end cap. But it's not perfect. I was just hoping you could incorporate something like that into your tool, so I don't you gotta dingle or mess with it like this. I gotta also hold this thing and get that thing on there, and it's like, oh, this is a nightmare. I gotta come up with a better solution. So if you get around to it, please do.
Well, go ahead and do you have any of the tools I've already done?
Yeah, I can import yours, and I can work on it.
I'm curious if you could just print the one that I've done for your tool and then use your adapter. See if it can hold your adapter in place. 'Cause that's part of the reason I've left the ends completely open, because
because then you can just put it back and forth, your fingers between the edges.
Because I made it so it holds the can. So like a short can has the motor tabs that stick out wider than the can does on the flats side, and I had to do flat to flat rather than round to round because most of the tools aren't big enough to allow anything between the inside of the tool and the motor unless it's flat side facing the tool. So the actual alignment prints are can length, not motor length. So hopefully that will, you could have it hold both your adapter and the motor.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
I got
then-
a slot invasion. I'll give it a try and see if that works. If
Yeah.
it does, then I'll just tack that onto your part.
Yeah,
What did you-
and
what-
Hexulator's design also included a depth stop. And I'm like, no, I'm not gonna set everybody's depth for them.
No,
That's
So there
a-
are definitely ways to improve it, but my focus was just holding the dang motor in line with the hole in the tool.
Yeah.
Now, how did you find Heimscheiser's website if he was just like do you go through the German sites and
I
look at
go
their
to-
stuff?
I
Okay.
regularly check freeslaughter.de and use Google Translate to be able to read what's going on there. And mostly it's a lot of Carrera digital stuff because it's in Germany, so it's
Yep.
Sure.
straight up Carrera territory. But there's a lot of other useful stuff in there, and that was one of the things I saw.
What did
Cool.
you use for your 16D, Greg?
I had D124 motors, which were the same dimension that the guy on Slot Forum gave to me. I'd be happy to take, if I use the wrong dimensions, I
Oh
definitely
no,
want to.
there's no wrong. It's just that there's a lot. Like all this like a 16D can is kind of close to each other, but whether it's a B can or a C can or there's a bunch of different variations. And I wasn't wondering if you use like an old vintage monogram 16D or something like whatever. They're all slightly different.
Do the cans differ in their flat to flat or outside diameter?
A little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Like tenths of a millimeter or millimeters?
Yeah, no. Like, yeah, tenths of.
Okay.
It's not going to be like a big deal. And the number of guys that in our hobby these days most of the guys that are putting pinions on 16Ds of various types already probably know how to do it pretty well. So,
And they probably solder them on.
and have been doing it for, 50 years. So,
Yep. Yep. All right. Well, I think we talked about that enough. But as I mentioned, if you have a tool that you want me to do those for, just message me the tool dimensions and I'll make that happen. Does anybody else have any show and tell they want to show and tell? Go ahead, Mr. Weber. Then we'll get
Okay.
to Dewan.
Okay, thank you. Found something on eBay, of course. About half price. Oh, it's a Le Mans miniature 2003 Bentley EXP Speed 8. And it's a kit. So you have some options here that you can drive yourself crazy with, I think. But it's kind of interesting. Nice decal sheet. Oops. Here we go. Nice big decal sheet. You can do, I think you can do number 8 also. This happens to be number 7, which was the winner. Number 8 finished second. The instruction sheets are printed very well, but the images are in color, and the detail's not good enough to really make much out because of the color and some of the way the instructions work. How am I going to describe this? I think the French use different reference language for the various nomenclature for parts and things like that. And that's going to be kind of interesting to sort out, I think. But with AI and such, shouldn't be too hard to figure out. There's a little sack of parts, comes with laser etch metal pieces that you cut out of a sheet, And this is the body. It's resin, cast resin. I still haven't decided whether the chassis is resin or not. It was partially assembled, which it sounds dangerous, and it may be, but it's probably going to be better than if I had put it together myself. So from beginning, anyway, kind of interesting. I believe is that not a slotted
Yep.
motor mount?
Yep. It's the slotted offset motor mount with their old 25K motor in it.
Okay. And
Which is just fine.
Lots of little pieces for as most of the slot cars that I've looked at go. Solid brass wheels. I don't know about the axles. They look pretty good.
Actual brass, are they heavy?
Yes.
Wow.
I haven't measured them. I haven't weighed them, but yeah, they're heavy.
You can use it for crawling, you guys.
Excuse me?
Rock crawling. You can use it for rock crawling.
Oh, and
raid car.
let's see what else. There's a couple of other little things. You know, it's kind of the way you might expect them to do a kit.
Looks like a good kit.
Pretty interesting. This piece is brass. It looks like laser cut brass, and you bend these things. This large part. Most of this is the rear spoiler.
Yep.
Or wing.
Yep.
Yeah, basically it's like it's a static slot car kit. I mean,
Yeah,
Le Mans
pretty much.
doing it, basically they do static slot car models.
I think you could probably work it over with some of the more modern parts. This kit came out in 2010, I think, something like that. So it's been around a while, and you could probably work it over with some of the newer parts and motors and things like that, and put it on a weight reduction program.
That motor's just fine, John.
Good.
There's nothing wrong with that motor.
But the chassis seems very small for LMP car. I mean, it's like the guide is almost sitting inside the pod, the guide fly.
Yeah.
It's actually not that small. It's scale.
Right. It's the difference.
Well, I don't
One
know
of the
about. I mean, where do you put the front wheels, John? Does he have any mounts there for putting the?
Here, no, there's a.
Does it go into the body?
There's a part that you bolt in, has some screws. Phillips, I think they're Phillips head screws that you screw in, that has the purchase for the front axle.
Is that an HRS chassis?
Excuse me?
Is that an HRS chassis? So it's got like adjustable.
You know, I'm not really sure. I don't.
It isn't, Greg. The chassis plate's resin, but it incorporates a lot of the HRS, like bolt-on front end bits and stuff like that. So a bit of a hybrid.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
And
they're great. They're great. I mean, they're as Gio said, it's a motorized static kit. They go around just fine. They really need to be put on a diet to be competitive with anything else. But I mean, to make a nice model of it and watch it go around, it goes around just fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, in the car, like if you look at the front of the car, right, the rear car that is John's background, basically. I mean, the front is like it's like a Formula One car almost. There are wings, basically. And so putting the guide underneath that, it's a not easy job.
Right.
With a cable, if you don't want to show the cables, of course. I mean, otherwise, all the bits are. Well, I mean, it's It's a small car. Yeah. Hmm. I wish Bengal would do like an hypercar. It would be really interesting to see.
Could do stub axles, stub axles on the front.
Yeah, yeah, and that's why maybe to me looks like the guy demanding point is so close to the pod because it seems almost like he's sitting under the cockpit almost.
Yeah.
If you know. So that's another reason why the car will not. I mean, almost like the guy is behind the front axle.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's why it will not go any good. And then there is a huge diffuser at the back.
It's definitely just a parade laps kind of car.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, if everybody has one, they're, they go around just fine against each other, right? And
That too.
Yeah,
not every
yeah.
car has to be the fastest slot car there is.
Yep.
No, but I'm thinking like even like if you would do a slotted, for instance, or MR, MR slot car. I mean, something like a more advanced. I mean, as a model, it's not that easy to make as a competitive body shape, let's say, as a competitive slot car. It's not easy feast if you manage.
No, true enough. True
Yep.
enough.
That's
You
like
have to use
like
that.
Chris said, it's
Look at that.
the correct scale. Yeah.
Yeah. Look at the back. I mean, you can land an airplane there. It's like a kind of jet carrier at the back. Which I think in the real car, I mean, it must have like a lot of downforce, right? But that does not translate in slot car performance part.
It's also great in the garage for a buffet.
Yeah, that's all kind of for drinks to take them
Charcuterie.
around.
You could have
Yeah.
the whole neighborhood in for a nice tea. Let's see here. There's another photo.
Are you gonna build it, John?
Yeah, I think so.
Cool.
I'll probably mess it up, but
Look at that.
Yeah. Oh
it's
yeah.
very
They'd have to
attractive.
use
Interesting
this.
car.
As a
They'd
model.
have to use the shadow, the guide from the shadow.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was thinking about that. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just gonna mention maybe Mr.
Look at
Mosetti's
that.
guide design not work.
Somebody tell Ernie to do that car.
That's-
hey,
That's
Come
not
on,
on the
man.
list.
That's not happening.
That's not, well, yeah, that's not on the list for the next while anyway.
I bet.
All right. Well, looking forward to seeing your progress on that. Should you ever get
Good.
going?
Thank you.
Thanks, John. Let's let Dewan get some time in. What you got, Mr. Clark?
More of a show and ask.
Sure.
I saw a few posts on Facebook and I was kind of intrigued by it. It was some digital car racing Carrera track. I just shared. And if you notice, it's a Carrera track and it's got 12 people on the podium there just racing on a 4-lane Carrera. And this is in,
I
So
believe
it
that
could be
is.
yeah, it's
I
David.
believe I've seen that track, and it's been converted to AC, not AC2 car, but Davik.
Exactly. That's exactly what my next statement was going to be. So I saw this one, and then I saw, I don't know how I can switch to a different
Maybe able to change
share.
tabs.
How do I change it? Let me see if I
You
change
can't
the screen.
change
Is that,
windows.
Is that cheap? You
There
can't
you
change
go.
windows. I don't think.
You can change
It did
tabs,
change?
but not windows. Yes, we're looking at the other track.
Oh, okay. So this is the other one, and it had 14 races on the podium, and they said they had 21 races total in them that was competing.
Yeah.
And it's just, wow. So
I forget what the limit on Davik is, but I think it's not 20 like Oxygen. It's in the teens, but I don't remember. But there's also David Kaya, the BLST slot track guy who did that cool controller. He developed his own version of Davik that expands the number of drivers, so it's possible they're using that.
but and I guess my real question was if it's 21 racers competing in this competition and there's only 14 stations and 14 drivers, how does that work with the in a
Well, I mean,
race like
it
this?
could It could be a team
Oh.
thing like the other guys have been doing.
Or it could be elimination process, huh? Or
Yeah, mains.
Yeah. If you look, there are 7 people on the rostrum there driving.
Yeah.
Oh, is it
So
just
basically,
7?
it's a team of 3. So when you see a French name for a club in digital racing, then most likely 99% is a Davic.
Yep.
How does that, if I could ask, how does that differ much from the oxygen type of
Nobody knows.
It's still through the rails. It's more like the digital slot cars of Carrera and Scalextric and stuff, but the chip is fairly simple. I forget how the lane changing works, but I think it's dead strip like Ninco. And they have a system where you're using like a traditional analog controller through like a box that does the digital translating or something. It's similar in ways, but different in a lot of ways. But that's pretty much true of all the digital systems. They're all similar in some ways, but different in other ways.
Okay, but it's definitely not widespread though, because both of these seem to be in
Pretty
Europe.
much, yeah, pretty much just France.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
So
widespread enough for France.
Yeah.
That fellow's name was David Silage, wasn't it?
No, Kaya is his last name. Silage is the name of his business.
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
What?
What's his last name
Silage.
again? I'm sorry.
Kaya, Caille.
Kaya. Okay.
Okay, that's all
Cool.
I had. I was just intrigued by it.
Yeah.
Okay.
At first I was thinking, oh great, okay, the 4-lane Carrera Digital is gonna be boring as F. 6 cars on a ginormous 4-lane track, might as well be analog.
Well,
Yeah, but
is there a
that's
way of doing like you get to have 2 separate sets of racers, and then they can switch off, and that's it. They'll be the
Yeah, but there's no race management that combines 2 parallel running tracks like that for digital.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Makes sense. All right. Well, like I said, I was intrigued by it. Thank you.
All right, I'll stop your share for you.
Thank you, because I can't find the button. Everything disappears when I start sharing.
All right, anybody else got any show and tells? Okay, moving along to racing. If you got club corner stuff, racing you want to talk about, Mike, you don't have to put up your virtual hand if you want to just get started. Never mind. You did it quicker that time. Good job, buddy.
Yeah.
His
I can't-
fingers getting quicker.
Yep.
Yeah, really, I wish my for some reason the iPad is starting to get slow.
Mhm.
You can't use one of those pins?
I don't have one of those.
Okay.
I have just a finger to point with. So Monday I did oxygen again, and we did the Scale Auto hypercars, and I romped. As you can see, there's a huge difference there.
Wow.
I just got a handle on it better than the other 2 guys. The Scale Auto cars, of course, have lots of punch, and you have to do it slowly. So it's difficult to get a handle on it. Shiggy had just a bad day all around, so it was not good for him at all. But I cruised to a easy win on that one. And then
So wait. Are these a best of lap time, real best of lap times?
yeah,
6.257, Ellen.
that's the problem with that is the problem that I've been having. Okay, the short laps are usually about a second short. So as you can see, I did have a problem with the short lap on that particular car. Though I can't say for sure what the problem is with that one. However,
Did you update the firmware?
I did update the firmware, yes, on that one, but that's the nature of it. So as you can see, I still have a problem with short laps on even with the new firmware. So, and moving the start finish line. So, but there is a possibility that it was moved because that there was a accident in there and it got moved closer. So that's a possibility. I don't know for sure.
Okay.
Anyway, going on to the next one, we had Group 5s. I had the new BMW CSL, which is actually a pretty nice car. I did a little bit of body work on it. That front piece, that big cow catcher thing in the front, is almost solid plastic, and it doesn't have to be. You can grind off around it and make it lighter that way, and I think better. Anyway, the problem is I forgot to change the firmware on these 3 cars. So we had a hell of a time. With the new firmware, I didn't really have a lot of problems with this firmware in its 17A. I had trouble with it coming out of the pits, and it would be in pit lane mode, which Shiggy was complaining. It's like, my car isn't going around at all. I'm holding it down and there's nothing going on. Well, he was still in pit mode because he, I don't know why it's all of a sudden started missing the magnets. I hadn't had that problem before, but I did now. So they've now been changed to the new firmware, so should be no problem anymore. But we'll see. Any rate, I got beat. Only because I screwed up my fueling and got a full load, and because I had not looked at how close we were to the end. And that was my downfall. I stormed back and got back close, but within about a quarter of a lap, I had an off at the last 10 laps because I was pushing really hard and didn't quite make it. So Joel got another win. So that was good. Shiggy just had all kinds of problems, even though he had one of the faster cars. He couldn't do it, and he had trouble with like I said, the pit lane speed going all around the track, and he just wasn't handling it very well. He just had a bad day. So anyway, it was good fun anyway, regardless. And then the Saturday before, I had 24 scale racing. We had a full day of racing there with all 3 classes. We have stock cars and retro Can-Ams and LMPs. And I went above myself and I won the B main, which is all the fast guys were there. So I think there was 19 of us. And I won the B main. There was there was 16 of us. I'm sorry, because we had 2 8-lane races, and I finished top on the B main and did pretty well overall. So it was good there. Then in Retro Can-Am, I actually qualified 4th, and I couldn't believe it because that car, Shiggy had worked on my car, so I had the 124th car was a 20-year-old Hanson build brass chassis that Shiggy put the newer regulation motor in, and it was just like magic. I qualified for the A main in 4th and finished last in the A main, unfortunately. But all the big guys were there, and they were somehow underperforming. But I did qualify faster than a lot of the big guns, I was happy about that. And then in LMP, the B main was a crash fest. I mean, there are cars on the floor all over the place. There were a lot of young kids in the race, and it was just bad. And I'm getting to the point, I think, where my age is starting to show on the LMPs. They're just too damn fast for me to keep track of. At one point, I just lost my car completely, couldn't find it. It was just tough. But I finished second in the B main, so I didn't feel too bad about that.
Those are all
Even if you lost the car.
Even though I had lost the car once.
those are all flexies, Mike?
Yeah, there were flexies in the stock cars and the LMPs, and then Retro Can-Am was brass chassis.
Who's building most of the retro Can-Am chassis?
Well, Chance is building most of the chassis. Well, not most, many of them, and Tom Hansen builds the other one. The car I have is a very old Hansen car. If I can show it to you if you'd like. So, hang on, let me get it.
You got to go in the safe there, Mike.
Well, it's still in my box. So, this is the chassis.
Oh, okay.
So
That's actually not that. That's yeah, it's not that old.
okay.
Yeah.
All right. But at any rate, it's actually the body's in fairly decent shape too. There wasn't that much.
Yeah.
So usually you end up with these things, you end up with the bodies getting wiped out every race.
Yep.
So anyway, I felt I had a good weekend. It's the best I've had there in a long time. But like I said, I think my age is starting to show on the LMPs. Because they're doing the track is 123 feet long, and they're doing 3.1 second laps. So it's pretty quick. Anyway, that's all I got. Had a good time.
All right, good stuff. Anybody else want to talk about racing, past, present, or future? All right, floor is open. As long as it's slot related, it is A-OK. I'll put your hand down, Mike.
Oh, thank you.
Kind of slot related, but also not. In what I call guided slotless, aka Carrera hybrid, Anki overdrive, etc. There was a response to Charles R's thread on Slot Forum about his Carrera hybrid thing. Somebody else posted a video about an upcoming update to the Carrera hybrid app, because you have to have an app on your phone to drive the cars, with a feature called Slot. And although the video was in German and I did not turn on a translator, I'm guessing the basis of the slot setting is that all you have to worry about is the speed control. You don't have to worry about steering at all. So that makes it slightly more like slot cars. By a very small amount. Anyways, Garth put his hand up. What you got, Garth?
I have a question about NSR pods that and maybe somebody could answer, okay? And the question is, I'm looking at two Sidewinder NSR pods. One is called a narrowed medium black Sidewinder pod, and the other one's called an extra hard red Sidewinder pod. And I'm wondering what the difference between the two is, other than the medium and hard. I understand that, but you know, what is narrowed medium? Does anybody know what that is?
Probably the spacing on the rear uprights.
So you can get it into a narrower car.
Spacing on the rear uprights.
Is this nomenclature from NSR? Or
Yeah.
from the store?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
it's in the description. Well, actually, I took it off Professor Motor. It's the one that's called narrowed is NSR 1272. And the other one, the extra hard red one is 1222. So
Are you
I
just
thought
looking
it was
at the sheet
maybe
or
a
do you have
width.
copies, Garth?
What?
Yeah, are you just looking on the sheet or do you have them in front of you?
No. I'm just looking on the sheet because
Okay, the narrow is probably a little narrower on the rear uprights.
oh, okay. So the width of the
Rear upright.
fit down into the chassis easier than basically.
Well, it's just if if you really want to run extra wide tires and need a bit of room because you've got a spur and all the rest of the stuff in there.
Yeah, so you can get bigger
Okay.
tires on or normal tires under a smaller body. Presumably.
It may be this.
I'm sorry.
Jim has spoken and there he goes. He's sharing now.
It may be this, and I'm not sure which one is which, but some of them use press-in bushings from the outside and some snap in from the top. That may be the difference. I'm not sure about the narrow or anything else. But
The
those are
narrow one is
different
black.
pods. Well, the colors are irrelevant. It's just that they do make two different pods, one with the bushings going in one way and one the other way. So that could
Actually,
be,
they do a bit more than two, right? Because there is that rectangular one, and then there is also the triangular one.
Yeah, well, the
But you-
1272 is the
No,
1272 is a classic style, rectangular one.
yeah,
Yeah,
wasn't
the
that what you're
rectangular one
referring
is
to?
the one see, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to figure out which one I need to buy because I want to copy it. Okay.
Is that the difference between the Evo 1 pods versus the Evo 5? Is that what the narrow
Well,
is?
It says on the two different part numbers, they both say Evo. One says medium, one says extra hard. So
Well,
So-
depending on the car you're using, this will not fit in some of the cars because it doesn't have this half moon in the back.
I'm just trying to figure out which one. I'm not going to fit it into anything. I'm going to dupe it. I'm going to buy the pod just to get the dimensions of it.
Well, in that case, either
You-
one of these would work.
See, but
Garth,
I want to make
Looking
sure
for
that
the
it fits.
917 Porsche.
Yes, 917K.
If you're not going to use it, I can send you this one. I've got a black one. And I have the chassis.
Is that the narrowed one? Has it got a number on it? Is it 12?
No, it doesn't. I was going to look. I don't have a number on it.
12,
So what is the number of the narrow one, Garth?
1272. 1272 is the narrowed one.
So I believe that these new ones rectangular because the red one is 1270 and blue
Look at
is
I'm looking at
71.
1272 on the Pendle website, and it doesn't say narrowed at all with it. It's just the regular
No.
black medium sidewinder classic.
That's not the one. That's the red one. The one that's narrowed is black.
But the
Black
color
medium.
is irrelevant. This
Color,
is
yeah,
we're
color is
talking
your.
about 1272.
I don't think so.
1272 would probably be the black one, but this series
Oh,
of
okay.
pods are all the same, just with different thick stiffnesses.
Yeah.
Right.
So, and this series is the one that has that half moon in the back,
Okay.
which you need for some of the cars.
For the 908, you do need it. For the 917, you do not.
Yeah, you can always cut it out, but
Yeah.
if you get the one without the cutout and the chassis that has it, it just won't fit.
So the 72, so 1272 is like that this one but black.
What you see the numbers here? I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure that's indicating it's a 1270 series, and the last number refers to the color, color.
Yeah,
slash-
toughness of this of the
So
pod.
0 would be blue. You said black was 72. So I'm,
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure that's what this
Black
is.
is 72.
1270
Yeah, okay.
series.
That
with the
kind of
last number.
answers the question. Mike, is that the one that you got, the pod you got, has it got the rounded back on it, not the snap-in one
What do you mean the rounded back?
on the pod? I mean, where the bushings go. Is it rounded?
Yeah, it's
Not a snap down?
It's
That's the old pod. Is not
Yeah.
the Evo version. Is the one where you press fit the bush from the top, not from the side.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Mike, he's talking about this,
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm talking
the
about.
round area, which the one you have is not.
Actually, if, as long as the, it's the offset is the same and the, distance between the, center line of the motor and the
All the
line of
same,
the axle is the same,
all the
that
same,
counts for me.
all the same.
Okay,
You might
And
want
what's
to
the
check, you might want to check the newer ones. The couple of the pods that have shown, the older ones do not, it's only somewhat recently that NSR has woken up and put holes in the bulkhead so you can screw the motor in. Many of them do not have those.
This one does not.
Right, that's an older pod. That was
Yep.
the pod design from the very first Mosler they made back in 2004. And it was the straight sided pod they used in a lot of their early cars. And a few years ago, they went to the triangulated pod. The dimensions of them are all the same, offsets, all the rest of the stuff. Center line to axle on the sidewinders. They're not true sidewinders. They're 2-degree angle winders, but that's not a big deal.
okay, thanks.
Yeah, I mean, with the new pod where you have like the bushing that you have to press on the side, they all have the screws now. That's when I think they introduced with one of the new Porsche. What is the cost of the other one, Garth, that you mentioned?
Oh, the other one is I think is the, probably the most popular one, it's the 1222 Evo Red Extra Hard pod, Sidewinder pod. I think that's probably the one everybody buys.
That's the one to have.
Yeah, that's the old one.
Yeah. Yeah, and see, I just want to measure the goddamn thing, so.
If you want to measure it, I can just send that one to you.
Yeah, but I can get one in the mail. Just it will
Oh.
cost you more money to send it to me than I can get one in the mail.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, that's okay. It's okay. Thanks, Mike. That's
Sure.
Question answered, I guess. Floor's open. I don't got anything else.
Go ahead, Garth.
Hey, while we're on the topic of the NSR motorpods, has anyone noticed that they're now releasing a range of motopod with different offsets?
That's not an SR. That's a Slotting Plus, I believe.
Really?
The gray
NSR
one.
did that too. NSR just released some new motor pods with different offsets.
They just did. Okay.
Yeah, I think it finally revealed exactly what the intended offset in the stock motopod was. I think that was a number that was an unknown, and turns out it's about 0.2 millimeters, I think.
Well, they had brought out various offset bushings for the rear to lower it and change it.
Don't use those.
Yeah, I got that.
Question, is the offset the distance of the motor shaft to the rear axle if you drop or raise the rear axle?
Center line of the motor, looking on from the side, center line of the rear axle to center line of the motor shaft.
Okay, and then say you got a millimeter offset, does that mean that the axle is higher or lower?
Higher.
Higher.
Higher, so the rear axle goes higher with a 1 millimeter, okay.
Yeah.
Allows for
I was
fitting
gonna-
of larger diameter wheels and tires.
Yeah, I was thinking about putting a slotted motor pod in a little Legend custom chassis. So I'm going a different route, but I was looking for offsets and I couldn't find anything. offset far enough for my lowered chassis. So I ended up designing my own motor pod to go with my custom chassis. So, but I couldn't
You're
find
gonna-
anything with a big enough offset.
Are you going to use, is that for an inline or a sidewinder, Rob?
That's going to be an sidewinder. Yeah,
Okay.
it's not a total sidewinder. It's a little less than 2 degrees on an angle.
Yeah, that's fine. And how many millimeters do you think you're going to go up?
Well, right now my the chassis is lowered 2 millimeter from a stock Legend. So
Okay.
when I put it with some smaller tires and wheels, I got maybe maximum or a little less than a millimeter of track clearance on the
Okay.
belly pan.
And that's with a 2 mil offset?
That's with a 2 mil offset on the chassis, and then I have the body lowered another millimeter.
Okay, there's no such thing as an offset on the chassis. The offset is the relative from the motor to the axle.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. I have not exactly sure what it is. It could be maybe a millimeter offset, but it could be just a zero offset too. I'd have to look at the CAD and check it. I can't recall what I did with it, but I dropped the entire chassis down, which I raised the axles 2 millimeters, so it could be a 2 millimeter offset
Right.
to the motor. But I did lower the motor down. The motor is actually going through the chassis, the bottom of the chassis, like a NSR motor pod or a slotted motor pod. So the motor is just off the top of the track surface as well.
Okay. Why not lower the whole thing and make it even? Lower the center of gravity.
Well, I got the motor down as low as I can go, and I raised the axle up to put the smaller tires on it, and it's probably got everything lowered down as far as it can go. So the axle is raised, the motor is lowered, and I have like a front axle hoops like the NSRs for the front axle on it.
Right. Can you not make the motor level with the chassis and then just raise the rear uprights a little more? That'll lower your center of gravity even more.
Well, I have the motor down through the bottom of the chassis, so it's sitting in a hole pocket.
Right, but if you bring your chassis down level with the bottom of the motor and then to compensate, that will lower your center of gravity. So you just raise the bushings in the uprights a little bit. Now you're going to have a lower center of gravity than you have right now.
Yeah, that's what I did.
Yeah, but your motor's below the chassis.
No, the motor is flush with the bottom of the chassis now. Normally on a stock Legend, the motor sits above the chassis.
Okay, no, okay. I thought you said the motor was below the chassis. My mistake, sorry.
Well, it's flush with the bottom of the chassis. It's about a millimeter off the ground, off the surface of the track. But I raised the front and the rear axles and dropped the motor, so the motor's down as low as it can go without scrubbing the track. And then the rest of it gets squatted down with smaller diameter tires, and then the body is dropped another millimeter. So it's pretty squatty.
That's fine.
But I was wondering what the offset really was, because I was looking at doing a slotted or NSR motor pod, but I'm doing something different, and so I'm going off in a different direction.
Is there any steel in your braid in your track, Rob?
I'm sorry, I didn't quite understand that question.
I'm wondering if the braid in your track has got any steel in it, or whether it's entirely
No,
entirely
it's all tin copper braid. I didn't. I was looking for Magna braid at one time, but it's very difficult to find, and I don't even think they make it anymore. So I just bought my braid, 1/4 inch wide braid from Slot Car Corner here in the U.S. And I bought, I don't know, around 800 feet of it, and it had the backing on it, the 3M backing. and it was easy to put on, so that's what I went with.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. I just wanted to get verification because I seen a lot of the pods with the offset information on it, so I wanted to kind of just get the accurate description about what was going on. Thank you.
Garth,
Yeah,
what you
when
got?
you're running an offset pod and a sidewinder or an angle winder, you can run a couple of mils, no problem offset without changing anything. If you are, then the reason I asked if it was an inline, anything more than about a millimeter offset, it starts getting pretty touch and go with the types of available gears that are out there right now.
Yeah, I was looking into that, and I started out with an inline, and then I noticed that the more you drop it, the more wonky the gear tooth pattern has to get to mix up with the pinion and crown. So
Yeah, you can generally go slot. It makes a line of offset gears where the inline teeth are just on a slight bit of an angle, and you can go just over a millimeter offset before you start running into problems. There are ways around that. You can get some beveled pinions, but they're pretty pricey, and you can only go to about 1.5 mil offset that way.
yeah, that was kind of my deciding factor to get away from the inline. Inline would have worked out nice for the little legend car because it's a short little chassis to start with. It's like the little, what is it, Abarth, real short little guy. And I decided to just go with my super modified chassis that I have, and I just cut it apart and made a new outside chassis for it and tweaked a pod to fit in it. And I'm waiting for some carbon fiber plate to come in right now to do some work, and I'm going to go ahead and try to put something together. I have a prototype right now, but it's not handling as good as I want, so I'm working on some other stuff.
Well, if if you investigate scratch building the whole rear end of the thing, you don't have to worry about offset. You just build in whatever offset you need by positioning your axle tube. So just completely go away from motor pods.
Yeah, I wanted to go and try a motor pod. A friend of mine has done a motor pod, and he's had extreme amount of success with it. So I wanted to try it myself for the little legend cars, and I wanted to keep what I got. I went from bushings in the back to ball bearings in the back with holes through the side, like the NSR motor pod that you just seen. And so I used the small little bearings. And then I used like an NSR front axle system in the front with some set screws that go up and down in for adjustment for the front height. And I've been playing around with that. That's one of the track holder is actually a super modified Legend at just under 5 seconds and for 81 feet on my track. But it's fun. That's kind of what I enjoy doing is doing the designing and trying to make them go faster. So I think Garth and I have quite a bit in common. But anyway, it's part of the sport for me. I enjoy racing them and having fun with them and designing and building.
Well, there's a few of us on here who have been trying to build fast slot cars for quite a few years.
Yeah, yeah, I know. It's one of the things that is enjoyable. That you go down that rabbit hole, and usually there's no bottom.
What's the finished diameter, outside diameter of one of your rear tires then, Rob?
I think the ones I've got kind of a build sheet together for different parts, and I think the outside diameter I'm using super tires on it, silicones, and along with a NSR wheel, which I can't remember which one it was. I think they're NSR wheels. I'm getting about a just under 19 millimeter total diameter with the tire.
Yeah.
So that gives me about a millimeter of ground clearance off the track. And with the body lowered 2 millimeters, it's about the tightest I can get. And it's getting pretty tight inside right now on my one modified. I don't even run any interior in it because it's getting too low. So I have to start modifying the interiors. But for the super modifieds, I don't think we're going to run any interiors in them. We'll just run the little motor models that they have in the kits.
So if you want to follow me through this simple mathematics, if your tire diameter is a 19, that means your axle height is 8 millimeters. We understand that?
Yes.
From the track surface, it's exactly half of your tire. So your axle is 8 millimeters. The height of your S-can motor is 15 millimeters. And half of that tells us the height of the armature at 7.5 millimeters. So with a 0 offset motor pod, your ground clearance should be about half of a millimeter.
Mm-hmm.
And if you say you've got about a millimeter underneath your motor with a 19 millimeter rear tire, then you've actually gone for a half a millimeter offset in the opposite direction.
Okay.
You've actually offset the axle lower than the center line of the motor, which you won't find a production motor pod capable of doing.
All right.
You might get away with a 0 offset motor pod and the right tire diameter, and you'll get a reasonable ground clearance and you should have a competitive car. But most of the offsets go to raise the rear axle, which has the net effect of lowering the motor for most wheels and tires. Most wheels and tires that we're talking about here are like 17.3 wheels with a rubber tire on, making a tire that comes in at about 21.5.
Actually, raising the axle will will lower the chassis for any size wheel, Wayne.
Oh, of course it does.
Right.
But it lowers the chassis, it lowers the body shell with the chassis. It can introduce interference between wheel arches and rear tires if you go too far. But
basic stuff.
Yeah. Like basic stuff.
Yeah,
that's right.
I know I have raised the rear axle 2 millimeters, and I dropped the motor down. So I'm not even sure that I'd have to take a look at the car, but I think the pinion drive going onto the spur gear is down below the center of the axle. I think that the motor shaft sits below the axle shaft, and so the motor's lowered way down, and then the axle is raised up.
Yeah, you'll have a
So-
considerable offset because there's no box stock car out there that has the rear
No.
axle below the center line of the
Yeah.
motor.
Well, that was the reason for me just going ahead and designing my own pod, because I couldn't find anything that because I had a couple of pods here on some cars, slotted pods, and I took it apart and was playing around measuring, and there was no way it was going to work for what I wanted. So I just gave up with it and said it's easier for me to design my own pod and fit it in my own chassis. So it's just kind of a work in progress at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So, by the way, to closing the NSR offset, seems that Slotting Plus has more options than what NSR is offering in terms of different kind of offsets,
Yep.
given that they are only giving 0.75. So here you have more option. How good this pod is going to be, I don't know. Usually, Slotting Plus is a good brand. I mean, they release good stuff, so might be superior to NSR.
Yep.
Are
looks-
they identical in all other respects then, Gio? Look like they are.
I mean,
Yeah.
they said that I don't know. I have not tested them, right? So you have to kind of say
yes, they are.
the geometry of them, it looks identical. I mean, okay, the front
It's
part
just-
is not a flat plate; it's a set of arms, but it is what it is.
Yeah, just the positioning of the rear axle bushing, just the axle bushing holes, up a half a mil, down half a mil, blah, blah, blah. That's it. All the same.
It's also nice that they pod with the what's called it, the bushing that they use for making it more solid on the back.
Mhm.
So
Oh, the tube bus.
yeah,
the
the tube,
bus,
yeah.
axle.
Yeah.
All the new high-tech stuff they're coming
This
out
is
with,
actually
going back to 1968.
Nothing
Yeah,
gets.
this is-
There's nothing new. Is it just reinventing the wheel?
Yeah. All right, Jim had his hand up and Garth has his hand up. Jim put his hand down, I guess. Maybe he'll come back later. What you got, Garth?
I got a real quick update on my the testing junk I was gonna do, I've been doing. I'm gonna show it real quick. Okay, we're testing this rotating motor pod in this style of a Thunderstock car. And we're down to the motors, okay. And this is one of the cars that we're testing. Okay, these are aluminum wheels, some Garth design aluminum wheels that is on both of the cars. That's the pod, okay. And started out with a that's the other car there. Let me see if I can go back. And started out with a 25K Predator motor, okay. And that was way the hell too much power for this car on my track. With a 18 millimeter 32 tooth gear with an 11 tooth pinion. And so I went to we changed motors out and put a Piranha 21.5 K motor in it. And that was much better. Okay. And then the third version was the 18K Predator motor. Okay. And that by far was the best motor in this car because it was slower, not quite as peppy on the long straightaways, but man, it was a lot easier to drive in the corner. So what we and time wise, it was even with the 21.5K Piranha motor. Okay. And one thing you were talking about earlier, Greg, you were talking about the width of the cans on the motor. I ran into a little issue with the Piranha motor. Okay. And I had this really weird scraping noise coming and off of the car, and I didn't know what the hell it was, and it ended up being the motor. Okay. Come to find out, the can on the motor, comparing it to other cans, okay, 130 short cans, okay, was 10 thousandths of an inch fatter on the flats and 10 thousandths of an inch fatter on the rounds. Okay. And that actually became a double problem for me. Okay. The first problem was because I used a sidewinder in that pod, it became an issue with the I could not use an axle that wasn't ground out. So I had to put a ground out axle, the centered out axle in the rear of the car. And then also it was causing the a slight scraping noise on a few different areas on my track because it's a Carrera track and where the joints go together. Okay. And just that 10 thousandths of an inch. I mean, you made that much of a difference. Okay. And, come to find out, that was another reason for me not to use that. But anyways, the basic test was the fact that I actually picked a lower RPM motor, okay, to make the car perform better. Okay. And that's kind of the end of the test. So it's pretty interesting. Okay. Because I would have guessed something different. Okay.
So as a person who does not work in inches for his designs, what's the difference between 10 thou and 100th?
Well, 10 thousandths is
10 thousandths of an inch.
10
would be
thousandths is a
one-
quarter. 10 thousandths is basically a quarter of a millimeter.
A quarter
Okay,
of a
but
millimeter.
it
I'm
actually
pushing
would only
Why do
be
you say why do you say 10 thou when it's 100th?
because I'm an ignorant American who
No,
grew
so
up in
am
a
I. I'm just trying to get my head around.
tool-
I'm just trying to get my head around saying 10 thou versus
when
100th.
I really, I grew up in the tool and die industry, and all of my precision tools are in thousandths of an inch.
Of course,
And so
I'm not judging you.
When I'm hunting a problem with a precision tool, okay, I'm going to automatically switch to thousandths of an inch. Okay.
I'm not.
Now,
It's
when
not
I'm
a
designing in
not
CAD,
a
I go
judgment. It's
to
not
millimeters.
a judgment call. It's not a judgment. It's
Oh,
just
no, I
two
know it's
different
not a judgment. I'm
measurements.
just telling
So
you
you
that.
don't need to justify it. You're fully justified in using those. I'm literally just trying to understand. I was going to go get my calculator and use the length conversion tool, but then I'm like, well, does 10 thou actually mean 0.0010, or does it mean 0.0001? Because
It's
that would be
exact,
one
both
thou.
1/10 and 10th hour are the same, Greg. 1/100th and 10th hour are the same.
Okay,
Point.
thank you. And they are actual decimal divisions of an inch, right? So 10 thou is literally 0.001 of an inch.
Yeah.
No, it's
No,
No, it's
no,
0.01.
that's 1,000. 10,000 is 0.01.
No, that would be 10 hundredths.
No, it'd be 10 thousandths.
Guys,
See now,
this is
So
this is why it's
basic math,
confusing.
basic math, boys.
Greg, you're wrong.
Okay, here we go. 100 times 10 equals what?
1,000.
100 times 10 equals 1,000. 1 times 10 equals 10. So one 1,000th equal or 1/100th equals 10 thou.
And it's written as in decimals, it would be 0.001.
No.
No,
0.01.
Oh, sorry, 0.001.
Point
0.0.
0.01 is 100th, which
It's
is
You
also
got
10
hundreds,
Point,
hundreds, tenths, and ones.
Greg, 0.01.
that's 100.
Point
Yeah,
zero
that's 100.
one, and what
What-
Garth's talking about is 0.001.
But then why is it called 10 thou?
I'll
Because you're
show
measuring
you.
it in
It's the same
thousands,
thing.
so that it's
100th and 10 thousandths are the same thing.
right.
So then,
A
Because a
thousand
lot of-
is
a lot of the
a thousandth is 3 decimal places. So 0.001
Is a thousandths.
is a
it's
thousand.
1 thou.
Yes.
It's 1 thou.
0.01 is what you're looking for.
Is
Is
10
10 thou.
thousandths.
Yeah.
Same as 100th.
Yeah.
Okay.
But basically, it's a small amount, Greg.
Of course.
No, what I'm saying is that the can size, okay,
You're doing such precision stuff that
No,
a
no,
10
no, I'm
thou
Yes.
makes a
Yes.
difference. Yeah,
That,
absolutely.
when you
that
go by
scale is
space-
just much more precise.
When you go by spacers for 32nd scale slot cars or 24 scale slot cars for that matter, they're 5 thou, 10 thou, and 15,000 typically.
Right.
And so you say 10 thou, even though it's the same as 100th, but when you're differentiating, it's easier to say 5 thou, 10 thou, than 15 thou, instead of saying 5 thou, 100th, and 15 thou. That's the
Yeah.
reason.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you.
I mean,
It's like, you know,
the reason
is it
the
quarter
reason I
after 12 or is it 12:15?
I mean, if I'm going to go and make
20
adjustments
after.
to my model, I need to know how much. But in this case, no, just push it in. You're fine.
Yeah, this the reason I brought it up was I've never had I've never had a can width problem on any of those kind of motors. Okay, so it was just really bizarre that it had actually caused a problem. Okay,
Maybe there
Well,
was
it's
a hair in the CNC machine that caused it to be off by 10 thou.
I don't know.
no,
I think it was metal thickness or something. I don't.
that's not true. Cans are different size. Slotted cans are different size than NSR cans.
Yeah.
Yes, that's absolutely true. But on mine, you know, and this is just keep in mind, this is just me sitting at my bench. Okay. On the ones I was measuring to try to solve this problem, 10 thousandths was a lot. Okay. A lot of difference. Okay. Most of them were down, you know, most of them were 10 thousandths under this particular can size.
Mhm.
And I think, and I'm just guessing here, I mean, really, really guessing. I only have one or two of those Piranha motors, and I think at one point they probably had a different can on them. Okay, like they had a can that was and I was measuring against a Predator motor. Okay, so the Predator motor was 10 thousandths. The can size was 10 thousandths smaller. Okay, which put it more in the realm of the slot.it motors and all the other kind of motors that are in 132nd slot cars. But so I don't know, you know, what the reason, and I don't think it would be a problem in every car. It just was a problem in this particular car, in this particular pod that I was using. Okay.
Well,
And-
I mean, they all differ. They use blanks.
Yeah.
NSR uses a thicker can material than Slotted does. So when it's formed over the blank, by definition, it comes out just a hair wider, which is the most underlying point that I can give you guys, which I'm sure you all know for this, is never, ever, ever glue your bushings in without a motor in the motor pod. Because when you put the motor in, if it's undersized, you know, if it's a different size, as you put it in, it flexes the motor pod, it flexes the rear uprights and forces your bushings out of alignment. So always put a motor of the same type, the same manufacturer. It doesn't have to be a brand new one, but keep a slave motor or something like that. If it's an NSR, put it in the pod, then install and align and then glue your bushings and then put your race NSR motor pod back in. And make sure you don't switch brands of motors in the same pod, or you potentially could affect the alignment of the rear bushings.
Get rid of this. Okay, thank you.
I've got a very quick share.
Oh, you'll need the rest of the time.
No. Yes. Yeah, absolutely will. I can't actually find what to share. Here it is. Try this.
You got 35 minutes to go, Wayne.
Yep.
No, it's my favorite way to share anything. So now do we see why people refer to it as 10 thousandths rather than 100? Yeah, it's 10 of those.
Yeah, but that isn't that British?
Didn't you go to math? Like, what happened to the grade 8 math class here?
That's just one of those. That's
Yeah, but the
And-
problem
and
is that's a piece of crap instrument you're measuring with there. You know?
yeah. Where's your Mitutoyo, whatever it is?
Mitutoyo.
I keep that one for special occasions. This
And
one
then,
is actually
yeah, 10 thousandths is different in the UK than it is in in the US, you know.
Yeah, those damn Yanks, I should say.
Imperial versus American.
They say the same thing about down in Alabama about, people in Michigan, so.
That's true.
You also can't abbreviate hundredths to thou, and thou is far cooler.
Well, the funny thing is that, you know, when I'm designing in CAD, I'm using Fusion 360 and I'm completely metric, you know, I don't go the other way, you know. But
Fusion can do
I
inches,
will
right?
admit that I am totally, because of my age and my experience in life and work jobs and shit, I'm totally screwed up with the difference between decimals and metric. And it's like, you know, I do have to switch worlds every once in a while to get my head straight, you know, so.
I heard a funny thing, saying the other day. It says, if the Lord wanted metric, he would have had 10 disciples.
That's right.
Well, I got one little real quick story. I worked at a place that did broadcast equipment for radio and television, and we did a big job for Radio Free Europe, and it was all in metric, okay, and you know, and for some reason everything that they wanted was in millimeters, you know, so it was like, you know, 87,000 millimeters long, okay. And that just that really screwed me up. This was in the 80s, in the early 80s, and I just, oh my God,
Isn't metric and millimeters the same thing?
Yes.
No, but it was
Very precisely.
the thing as it was explained to me at that time, and whether it's right or wrong, was that, you know, in the metric system, you measure a locomotive with millimeters, okay? And in decimals, you don't. So, you know, it's like, it's a smaller increment. So but like I said, I try to make up for it in Fusion 360 by using complete metric. Okay.
So
As
Chris,
Greg
I
was
think it was-
saying, that you can use a Fusion. You can also use in inches and whatever feet and all you guys use down there. You can switch the unit of measure in Fusion. You don't need to stick with the default that is a matrix.
Can't be a bad system. 96% of the world uses the metric system.
That doesn't mean anything. Okay, the world's fucked up. Okay.
Well,
You
4%
guys are
is-
fucked up. I mean, how the heck you can work with the freaking fractions? I mean,
How do you know? How do you know?
drive me
How do you
nuts. Drive me nuts.
That's funny.
You know, there's
and they're all
another
based
system
on,
called
and all
Whitworth
based on the
that the
appendages of a
English use.
king. Yes.
Yes.
All right, so back to slot cars.
Yeah. Chris, if you
What
think
is
that
the
was
size
bad
of your
telling us
slot?
the difference between thousandths and 10,000ths, you should have tried to explain the metric system to mechanics in the 80s. Oh my God. And it was heresy besides that. So having worked on European cars as well as American cars all my life, it was real common. And then throw in, like I said, the Whitworth system from England. Wayne. Talking about
Yeah. Trying to work on those Triumph motorcycles.
yeah, or Triumph cars for that matter.
Okay, so maybe let's switch. It's not directly related to slot cars. Oh, yeah, it's indirect. So I'm trying to learn Fusion 360. So do you guys have any kind of good resource for someone that needs to start from scratch?
YouTube.
Uh,
There are
plenty of, plenty of YouTube tutorials. When I first started learning it, I actually used the Autodesk tutorials, and it basically gives you files that you can download, and it just steps you through basics and stuff. But there's dozens of YouTubers that do all kinds of basics of Fusion and how to do specific things with Fusion. Anytime I see one that looks interesting, I'll
Any
watch
specific one that you can recommend? Someone that is now more or less everybody's good. Okay.
Yeah, I haven't seen. Usually when a YouTuber does a series of videos on Fusion, learning the basics of Fusion, they're pretty good as far as teaching you the right things. And the only problem is that a lot of them are behind because Fusion updates
Yeah,
so
yeah,
often. Like they just did a big update that changes the way that you start a new file.
yeah.
So a lot of the YouTube tutorials will be talking about things that aren't necessarily in the mode that you started a file in. So if you have the latest version, which you pretty much have to have because it forces you to update every 5 seconds, then you want to assume that all the videos you're watching are referring to the hybrid mode of designing a file design rather than part or assembly, because hybrid is basically what it had been before they decided that they wanted to split files into parts or assemblies. So
Yes, and even
start a hybrid part and then watch the video.
yeah, but even like the because I started with the basic tutorials that what's called Autodesk has on their stuff, and they don't have that the assembly is still a design file. But when I was to try to assembly, you cannot do that. You have to use another type of file. So even their own thing resources are not up to scratch because I can imagine it. Yeah. Anyway.
That update literally happened within the last couple weeks.
Yeah.
So yeah, all of the tutorials are behind that update pretty much.
Yeah. So at the moment I'm following this guy learn everything about design. So that is basically I say this. That's 5 years old, this one at least.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be super old then.
I'm meeting Claire.
But I mean, the basics are still there. It's just something might be in a different menu than it used to be in, or a different workspace than it used to be in, but it'll be there.
I've been designing with SolidWorks for the last 20 years, and the SolidWorks is, and a lot of the CAD programs, even Fusion 360, have very much in common. It's best to just start playing around, start a new part, take a sketch and pick a plane to draw a sketch on, draw a circle with a sketch, close the sketch, and then extrude it and pull it up as a cylinder, and or just a cylinder wall, and then go ahead and just play around with it. And just the biggest problem is learning the new menuing and where all the tools are at, and trying to get used to where to find different things to work with. But once you get familiar with it, it comes a lot easier. And I've been trying to get into Fusion 360 because I was going to do some cam, machine cam design, and I just kind of gave up with it for now because I'm not versed in cam enough to understand what it is you have to have for tooling. And the cam machine, the end mill the CNC end mill is not in my possession to play around with it to figure out where all your 0 points and everything are in your tooling and positioning and all of that stuff. So, but the Fusion 360 and the SolidWorks, from what I've seen and played around with a little bit, they're very close. They're almost identical except for the menuing and a few things like that. But I recommend you just get into it and start playing around, making some simple shapes, and then you can draw on a surface of one of the shapes and cut away, extrude, and play with that way too. So it just takes time and you get used to it.
Yeah, I've done that with again what Greg was referring to, the basic tutorial. So where they have like a couple of shapes that you can again like sketch and then extrude, cut holes, whatever, shaft and stuff like that. So that's the basic, right? Then was it try because I'm kind of try to starting with I would like to replicate a pod, right? So I would like to understand whether basically, I can have, I want to try to make it a bit more organized in the sense that, for instance, if I want to have to cut a slot inside the pod for make it lighter, can I have something that is parametric that then I can change according to what I need and then I import on my thing. So I was starting using, I mean, I kind of asked for help through ChatGPT, and it was kind of give me some kind of hints, but then I was hitting problems like constraints, blah, blah, over constraint. And so I was kind of getting into maybe, to over my head. I mean, I kind of things that I was not, I mean, maybe a bit kind of more advanced than what I kind of I needed at that stage. So again, it's like with the Photoshop, the same thing. When I was doing landscape photography, most of the stuff that I need, I know how to work because someone explained. But if I had to go deeper on different stuff, then it was gonna get super complicated because you have so many options and parameters that you can use that goes over what I really kind of need. So I don't know if maybe as usual I'm kind of overthinking this stuff, but yeah. So I just want to see whether you guys had some kind of maybe some cool guys or cool resources that everybody goes to but it seems that any series is gonna do a good job. So I keep following that one.
And there's some YouTubers that do all the tutorials, but they also, like, every week you'll see a new how do I do this more efficiently challenge. Their viewers will say, hey, can you do this in a simpler way or something like that, and so they'll do that kind of. That's super useful. If I were to give advice from my learning, I would say, if you are going to design something that for sure will need dimensions changed, definitely parameterize them. Just make a parameter for everything that could possibly change. Like even the tolerance. Like if you add an offset shape to an existing shape, and you say, okay, well, that's going to be 0.1 millimeters larger just to give tolerance. Just say tolerance for, give it a parameter name and then put the tolerance in the parameters. Parameterize everything that makes sense. And that at the same time, you want things to be to use constraints, not just dimensionalize everything, right? Like especially when you're doing things relative to one another, in the drawing for sure, but also when you start extruding parts. Don't just say, okay, well, this circle needs to go down 5 millimeters to hit the chassis plate. Say from here to that object, because then when that object changes, that distance might change. And if you had set a specific distance, it will break. But if you said in the CAD, when you did the extrude, I want it to start from here and go to here, from object to object, or from profile plane to object, or whatever, then that'll update as well when the parameters change and things start moving around on you.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, it makes sense, I just said, but then implementing it is, I'm not there yet.
I'm designing another contraption for my 3D printer, and I'm in love with the whole extrude from object to object because now I can just say, okay, well, the top of that spacer to the bottom of that washer or that bearing or whatever, because then if those dimensions change, well, I'm changing the design, that extrude follows along. Whereas before I'd always been saying, 50 millimeters, because that's what it adds up to. And then it doesn't add up to that anymore, and my thing broke.
I'm right in the middle of a new project. I'm going to be designing a track cleaner device to go around the track. I'm going to have a front and a rear flag in the slots, so on the bank turn it doesn't slip. But I'm going to use rock crawler axle for the rear of a rock crawler RC car, and a gear reduction motor, and then some nice street tires type rock crawler axle that has the hex nut on them to hold on the tires and wheels, and then design the mechanism in and around a chassis and make links or whatever I need to get it to work. I'm going to use a gear reduction motor, a 300 RPM gear reduction motor, 12 volt, And it's the rear axle's a 2-to-1 gear reduction locked differential. So it'll be fun. And when I get something together, I'll bring it to class and show you guys.
Definitely. Yeah, I want to see that.
Because all I'm going to do is I just drag a damp cloth around the track to take the dust off. And a small little slot car motor doesn't have the torque or the longevity to burn up a long time using it. So I decided to beef everything up, and that's what I'm going to go ahead with. And I was even at one point thinking about putting a vacuum suction system on it to suck out the guides slots, but we'll see how it goes. Anyways, that's kind of what I'm playing with right now. I'm just waiting for the parts to come in.
Well, rather than if you're going to use something damp, I have a lot of success on our track using the California Dusters, believe it or not.
Yeah, but I'm too lazy.
Well, no.
I gotta walk around the track and do it. But
I meant
yeah,
for your truck, like, because the way a California Duster works, it's paraffin embedded wool, and the more you use it, the more it picks up. So I thought maybe instead of having your track cleaner with something damp, perhaps altering or putting fibers from a California Duster might work.
yeah, I have some California Dusters down in the basement that I used to use on the motorcycle and a couple of vehicles. But I'll keep that in mind. I'll see if I can find some correctly sized pads or a duster that I can use to maybe pull behind this little tractor.
Right. Yeah. Start with the dash duster, because the dash duster is a nice size.
Okay. Yep. And I'm going to have it offset because I have a 5-inch gutter on the 4 lanes, a 5-inch gutter on either side of each of the inner and outer lane. So I was going to.
I was going to go ahead. I think today's secret word was offset. I'm just saying.
Oh, okay. So what I was going to do is clean off one side of the gutter and then reverse the direction of the track and do the other side of the track in the other direction and get the other gutter so that I can, I have to make 2 laps around the track. Anyway, this thing is geared up with the size of the tires is about 1 minute to go around the track at something a little bit below 12 volts, about 10 volts. So I don't run the motor wide open at 12 volts. But anyways, that's kind of the next little fun project to play with.
If you ever wanted to go faster, Chris will build you a chassis.
Right. Might not be a bad idea just to go in one direction since you have braid.
Yeah, that's a possibility. I'll have to think about that now that you mention it so that I don't disrupt the braid. But we do go both directions occasionally on the track with a reversing switch for each of the lanes. And it seems to not have an adverse effect on the braid at this point. But yeah, I can see where the cloth. I use not a microfiber cloth, but I use, remember those old red shop rags, that guys used to hang in their pockets years ago? Okay, well, I have an old blue one that's about 24 inches by 24 inches, and I just dampen that up, and I just walk around the track, not trying to trip over the legs, and kind of just go around the track one swoop with the damp cloth all wringed out pretty much.
It wasn't so much. It wasn't so much I was worried about the cloth you were using. It's the braid on braid that's the issue.
Yeah, but I haven't seen any adverse effects. Maybe later on when I get more wear and tear on the braid.
I get it. I get it. Commercial tracks. I'm just going and looking at commercial tracks over the last 60 years. That's all.
Yeah. My braid's in still really good shape. It's like brand new, but maybe eventually it would start causing a problem when the top fibers of the braid start to break down.
Rob, you could make it self-powered. You wouldn't have to worry about braid.
Yeah, I was thinking about doing that too, but I was looking at lipo packs, maybe a 7.5 volt lipo 2-cell, and I thought I could just get by with controlling it with the hand controller for the track and just powering it off of one lane, because the motor is probably going to be at most an amp at even under a load. So, but I was thinking about doing that, and I was having some concern about having to adjust the motor speed, but which isn't a big deal. But yeah, thanks. I'll keep that in mind as well too if I have some issues. I still need a guide flag to help guide it, so when it gets up on the 20-degree bank turn, it doesn't slip down the track.
Listen, I know I'm old fashioned. We use rubber tires on my track.
I'm with you.
Just right there, man. Long broom handle. I can make 3 or 4 steps and I can reach the whole track. But of course,
Did you 3D printed that? Is it 3D printed?
No, I don't 3D print anything. I have
Man,
Greg.
I'm just messing with you. I know.
Hey, no, actually, that looks like a Tennessee hockey stick.
It used to be a hockey stick, and then I went to Canada and taught those guys how to play, and I came back with this. A lot of people.
That's why they lost. That's why they lost yesterday.
Well, that was the chicks. The chicks don't
Yeah,
count.
no, women. Yeah. Oh, listen, don't get me started on the women's team. They're older than dirt. They should not be in the Olympics.
Is it called the California Duster because California is a particularly dusty county, state?
I don't know why they're called they're probably originated in Michigan, but I think it's a really good marketing strategy.
Yeah, but if you're using California Dusters,
water.
next year there'll be a $1 per lap surcharge on it.
I just researched that thing. I didn't know what it was. I've never ever handled or seen a California Duster in 55 years of existence.
Well, I guess Wayne, they probably don't. If you go to car shows, they have them all the time because guys are always taking the dust off their cars, myself included, when we show our car. So I don't. Maybe they don't use them in the UK.
Oh, you can get them.
Yeah.
They're in like Amazon, places like that.
Yeah, but have you been to a car? Have you been to
But
a
I was
car show where
intrigued
someone?
by the cotton
Sorry, I
paraffin
was just gonna
thing.
say, have you been to a car show where someone's using them? And
I haven't noticed. I've been to very few car shows in general, but yeah, I haven't noticed these. There you go. They're really moppy, aren't they? They're really floppy moppy.
well, you can get them in various sizes.
Yeah.
It works really, really well. And the funny thing is, the more you season it, the better it works.
Beautiful.
And you can't wash them, right?
Was that a
No,
northern
no, don't.
California
No,
or Southern California, John?
You take them outside, you shake the heck out of them, and keep using them. Yeah, I even use it for my housework. I refuse to wear the high heels, but I use the California Duster.
That's the way we clean the Canadian female hockey team. We take them outside and shake them.
Listen, that game was so bad they only had to Zamboni half the ice.
What was it, 5-0?
Oh yeah, but you look at the shots on goal. Good Lord, it was just nope.
I was
good.
I was sent a photograph.
That wasn't the final game, was it?
Sorry, say again, Chris.
That wasn't the final game, was it?
No, that was the first. Well, actually, Canada had.
Actually, that was a bit of a redundant. Yes, that was I was being a little bit sarcastic there. Yes.
Chris, we can't tell. We can't see your face, so we can't tell when you're being funny.
Yeah, it's like Home Improvement. He's on the other side of the fence. We just
Over to. I will photograph this week. Would you like to see it?
Oh, before that, may I ask just one question? The Nuremberg Toy Fair used to be something like really, really big and had some wonderful coverage. Now there's almost next to nothing. But I managed to see Carrera's got the 2026 F1 cars coming out, and they look really. I know everyone poo-poos Carrera, I know, but to come out with the 2026 cars like in the season of Formula One, I thought was really quite something.
Carrera is one of the best manufacturer there to release updated models. So they do an excellent job with the GT3 class.
Mm-hmm.
So they have all the Evo version of the different cars and update as they go. And actually, as you said, yeah, everybody poo-poos on Carrera, but in the Netherlands, I think you guys heard the Tamar talking about these at the beginning of January when he came along one of the meetings here. It was talking about having some kind of a basic digital class based on Carrera cars. So while I was in Eindhoven, he had a bunch of those cars, and there is, I think we're waiting for the Ningo track to be set up for our oxygen racing or testing. So we went on, they have a large Carrera track on the other side that is analog. And so he took a couple of these cars that he's using for this class. So, you know, basically put the chip in analog mode and we started doing the laps. And I have to say, it's really fun. I mean, so the car have the magnet kind of moved to the front slot. So it's still magnet car. And the rear have proper tires. I think they're using BRM tires. And so, you know, it's very close racing. I mean, the car stays on the track. Of course, if you push too hard, then they will come off. So it's not a really, you know, magnetic thing. So it gives also some kind of answer. I mean, some feedback. So you can see the car coming a bit off. And well, I mean, for a car that was just set up in what, 15 minutes? I mean, it takes me 15 days to set up a car for running. And this is not the painting the share. I mean, this is just setting up the chassis for racing in oxygen. So it's kind of fun. So yeah.
And Gio, I didn't want to deflate your balloon, but they came out with a really nice version of the Pfaff Lamborghini.
Oh, really?
They got the Canadian tuxedo like perfect.
Oh, okay. I've not seen that in that yet, but yeah. So
I actually just ordered the new Carrera, the Tsingtao livery, that orange one with the dragon on the side. That is just gorgeous.
Yeah.
I don't know why no other manufacturer has done both the Rexy and that livery, because those are just absolutely gorgeous livery.
I mean, so one of the, I don't know. Yeah. So one of the things is that I think Carrera is still one of the few that is paying like a proper license. You know, Germany related helps with the manufacturer like Porsche and teams that raise these cars. So I think they might have some kind of preference access to do some of these models and liveries. I mean, with the liveries that we are seeing right now, they're becoming so complex. All these wrappers that have like super kind of, you know, weird colors. Painting yourself is almost getting impossible unless the decals guy, you know.
How would you know, Gio?
Yeah, I'm just trying to prevent you from losing your eyesight. That's all.
Yeah. Thank you, Joe. Thank you.
But no, you know, you gotta hand it to them because they do such a great job with the bodies and the liveries. I mean, sure, they're a little heavy, but it's nothing a Dremel tool won't fix if you really want to. And you know,
and that's
you've got to really want
actually
to.
The only problem I have with Carreras is that it takes so long to get them, you know, decent from a racing standpoint. Even though I run them as a separate class, by the time you change the wheels and get the guide straightened out, because I don't use the same guide, it's a hassle to run them. And you only pay $40 for the car, but you've got $50 in parts by the time you're done with it, and it's still a heavy body.
But you know what?
It depends upon what is the application, right? I mean, because as I say, the Tamar with this idea is demonstrating that you don't need to pay.
Yeah.
You just need to buy a bunch of tires.
Right.
And that's it. You don't need to do anything else to the car.
Right.
And the car
or to your point, you can look at it like buying a model kit for $40, because good luck finding one that's under $40 and just using the body.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think for what you get, obviously we know the bodies are great. They're heavy, but who cares? The car.
Yeah, as long as you race them in the same class.
Can I finish, please? the cars run great they don't run fast out of the box, but they run great out of the box.
Right,
If you change the tires, they run fine.
right.
True.
For the
It's-
market,
you
for the
know,
market that Carrera's in, who they're catering to, they're really
Precisely.
good. Really good.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, if you're gonna race in MotoGP, you know, most of the guys won't buy 10-speed bicycles because it's not what it's intended for. They do a great job. Take them out Christmas morning, running around, leaving the magnets in. They're basically indestructible. They're great for what they are intended for. And there is no one at Carrera, and I can tell you absolutely 100%, there's no one in Carrera's marketing or design department who have intended them to do anything other than what they do.
Yeah, but so what I'm saying is that with just just changing the rear tires and moving the magnet from the back to the
Right.
front, this can make a class that is also interesting for the more advanced user, not just for the kids at Christmas.
Right.
I suppose
So-
they're all fine until you start getting competitive with them, and as soon as you do get competitive with them, the facts become apparent again, and then there's a single car that's better, and everyone gravitates to that, and you're back
That's
where
no
you are.
That's no different from anybody else, any other class we've ever run.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's the same. It's
Yeah.
you're back in reality again.
The real
Yeah, I have. Go ahead, Jim.
the real homework was figuring out which model is the best.
Yeah.
But so when we were like with Tamar, I was using the 296 that he had, one of the cars that he had there, and he was using an M4, a BMW that is a much taller car and larger. I mean, the two cars were not miles apart. I mean, both of us didn't know the track, so we were like just going around doing laps, and you could see that both cars were not that far apart. Yes, you can do some bit of BOP if you want, like maybe the larger cars, you can give them the option to put some lightweight windows, for instance, just to kind of increase or reduce the center of gravity, let's say. So I mean, there are some kind of small modification that you can do.
So,
and
so
having saying that, when we raised the oxygen class, Tamar's team, they were using a Carrera body with 3D printed chassis, blah, blah, and the car was pretty competitive as well. Yes, you have to use a lot of Dremel to bring the body down.
I'm so
but
sorry. I
it's
thought I
doable.
texted you back yesterday. Yeah, he's a no-go.
go for it, Greg. Even though you had a casual ad hoc race with Tamar, Gio, I'm presuming that you did make sure that you won, yeah?
No, only if Ezra was on the rostrum, he was gonna win. I cannot win races.
Too much.
I bought 4 NASCAR Carrera cars. The reason I bought them is because they're pretty much indestructible. They don't have any mirrors to break off or spoilers or anything like that, really. And I bought them for track cars. So when guests want to come over and use them, I leave my voltage set up high for any of the other lanes, and I just let them go at it and have fun. And I paid $27 a piece for each of them. And I got them from a little hobby shop place online, and it didn't come with any of the extra pieces. It didn't come with the plastic box. It didn't come with some of the extra stuff on the inside. And I just had them all stripped down. And I go, these are going to be like my rentals. So if anybody wants to run, they can run these things.
Right.
Unless they want to bring their own cars over and smash those up.
But I have to tell you, Rob, their jewel boxes make the best mold boxes if you're like when you're casting. Fantastic. Like they last forever. They're so Teutonic.
All right, we're at the top of our second hour, so we're gonna end the stream until next week. Everybody wave bye if you want to. If you don't, you don't have to. And just keep waving until the timer runs out. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.